60-40, 55-45 fight. You got to lean toward Gervonta. A little bit more seasoning, a little bit more pedigree. I think he's supposed to figure this out. I think he's supposed to find a way to figure this out, but it's not going to be easy. He's going to have to go through some fire. I wouldn't be surprised if he got dropped, if he got hurt. Ryan's going to get hurt. Both guys are going to have to go through something if they're going to get their hand raised. It's a fun fight. It's a fight for bragging rights. They both got big followings. Mainstream media is covering the fight. That's always a good thing. It's just one of them fun fights, man. It's a fight you don't want to miss.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Vegas being joined with the Hall of Famer, Andre Ward. We're here in Las Vegas. Dre, man, I smile when I say that because I covered you for such a long time and taking the trips up there to Oakland and stuff like that. So I feel like you did it. You did it. Like, I'm glad you did it. But you have this doc dropping coming up in June. How was it going through everything? Like going through the footage, reliving your whole career, and then seeing it put on this doc?
Man, it was therapeutic. At times scary. Exciting, and a lot of work. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. When I first started the process, probably we started filming in 2016 or so, maybe even before then. I told my guys, man, just make sure you got certain things, man, put it in the can, put it on the hard drive. We're going to need it one day. But the process probably started around 16, 17, and we got out to a fast start, man. We started getting, interviews, and, we ultimately got 42 interviews for the doc. And I thought we were a year or two away. We just need to sell it, and then we're going to be out there. And my guy, Ryan Coogler, man, he was like, bro, it takes about 6-7 years. And I was like, no, I hear you. But in my mind, I'm like, no, we're moving fast. We're not far away. It took 6-7 years. But here we are. Great process for me to go through because, I feel like I'm a storyteller, and I feel like I'm a creative type. And I was very hands-on with this process, along with Uninterrupted, Spring Hill, and Showtime. But it's emotional, but then it's just a lot of work putting everything together, getting old footage, taking footage from VHS and digitizing it, getting clearance for music, deciding which interviews you're going to use, what story you're going to tell. It's a lot of work, man, but it's so you can try to create something that's hopefully a great piece of work and something that inspires.
Now, when you look back at the footage, at the doc, was there one part of your career that stuck out the most, hit you the most, or you really looked at it and went wow, man?
There were several.
Yeah.
There were several. Seeing my rise coming up and just remembering those feelings and emotions that always hits me. The Super Six was not just a big moment, but just everything that I had to go through there, the good and the bad. And just having that be a tournament that wasn't normal. It's not really something. Don King put on a 4-man tournament with Showtime years prior, but nothing like that. Remembering all those feelings and emotions were interesting. My first, title shot against Mikkel Kessler, that brought back all the feels, and, the lawsuit period, injuries, it's so much stuff. When I watched this and when I was going through the footage that just struck me, either gave me goosebumps or just gave me, brought tears to my eyes that hopefully, man, that stuff translates to the big screen, and the key for me being so close to it was everybody's like, it can't be a puff piece. It can't be a puff. It can't be something you're just, oh, Dre's great. He's amazing. We're going to have some of that in there, right? A little bit. But it can't just be that. Yeah. And we didn't do that in this doc.
Mm-hmm. Why now? Usually some people wait a little bit longer. It's really up to them when they choose to do it. But why do you feel like right now is the time as opposed to maybe waiting 10 more years?
Just felt right, man. It's a time and a place for everything. Like I said, we're 6-7 years in the making. And I was actually disappointed it didn't happen sooner. But then I look at the Hall of Fame situation and having that footage, it wasn't the right time. Now's the right time because, let me back up a little bit. The origin of me, wanting to really put this out was because, when the world first saw me, like I said, in 2004, I was fresh on the scene, man, and, fresh off the streets, had just given my life to God. And I didn't want to lead with all my struggles. I didn't want to lead with my family struggles and all that kind of stuff. And I figured I would tell my story one day at the right time. I just wanted people to embrace me for who I was. But then it got to a point where, I'm mentoring a lot of young guys, and they didn't believe that I had been through some of the things that I said I had been through. And I went to my pastor, and I was like, man, they not getting it, man. I'm trying to tell them. He's like, Dre, you got to kill the image. And I didn't get it at first. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no. Who you are is real, but it's not who you've always been. You have struggles. You can tell that story now. So that was like the origin of like the desire to want to do it. And then once I started gathering footage and realizing how much I had and how many people were willing to come on the record and speak about my life and career, that just inspired me all the more. And I was like, it's not just something I want to do, it's something I have to do.
Man, I want to touch on you so much in terms of your career. I know I don't have too much time with you. We can keep on? Is it cool? Okay. Man, so, you know, a lot of the major points in your career, there's so much to touch on. I guess, what do you think is one point in your career where fans are going to really look at it and be like, wow, like I didn't know about that? Or like, ooh, like really surprised?
So career or life?
I guess both.
It's a lot of them.
Yeah?
It's a lot of them. It's going to be a lot of eyebrow raising moments, man. It just is. It just is. I'll give you one in my life and one in my career. Life stuff is, I don't, you know, people don't know that, like, I was in the streets pretty heavy, man. From like, I don't know, 16 to like maybe 19 or something like that.
You're such a nice guy. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. And, you know, drugs, alcohol, selling, using, and...
You sold drugs? Wait, what?
All right, that wasn't in the trailer, but that's a spoiler, so that's in there. Yeah, it's so when I tell you it's going to be eyebrow-raising stuff, I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean that. Mm-hmm. Career... I think one moment is just everything I had to go through, you know, training camp 1 for Kovalev.
Yeah.
Like, man, that fight almost got canceled 3 or 4 times. Knee issues, swelling, had to modify my training. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm fighting a killer, genuine, bona fide killer in this ring. And my weapons aren't right. I'm not right. Going into the fight like that and you see all the stuff, me getting my knee drained and all the stuff at the doctor's office and just the conversations that were being had around that fight, and then seeing what I had to overcome in the ring and what I think it's going to give a little bit more credence to how great of a win that was and how great of a comeback that was. So there's your life shocker and your career shocker.
Dude, I remember being there ringside and I was shocked because I looked at you and I'm like, that's not the Dre I'm used to seeing. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? He doesn't fight like that. And like, I remember up until like the 7th round, I was just like, what the heck is going on here? Like, you know, but now that you given that context, I guess it'll make sense to everybody.
It was a lot, man. It was a lot. I can't use that as an excuse. I didn't talk about it.
You didn't. Even at the press conference, you didn't even, yeah.
Never mentioned it. That's just how I'm raised. That's how I'm built. You know, we just don't do that. If I sign up to take this fight and if I take it and if I get in that ring, I got to take whatever. I got to stand on whatever I'm bringing in there. I got to ride with that, whether it's good or bad. So we did that, man. And, you know, I think those are 2 moments that'll really be shockers. But, you know, I think, too, like my family history is key, too. You know, I come from a biracial family. My dad was white, my mom was black, and just their struggles. And, like, you see, like, typically when you see a great athlete or specifically a great boxer, there's a story behind that. The fans never fully got the full story. They're going to get it now, June 2nd.
I can't wait for that, man, because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. And, like, I've always related to people that have struggled a lot because, you know, like, everyone's gone through struggle, but especially, like, when you know, they come from messed up, like, backgrounds and stuff. Like, I came from a very messed up background and stuff like that. But to see people overcome and accomplish the things that they weren't supposed to accomplish, and you, I'm sure you've heard it, you're an overachiever. But it's like you accomplish things that a small percentage of people, like you're like less than 1%. Olympic champion, undefeated, multiple weight classes, Hall of Fame. Like, man, you did a lot that you weren't supposed to do.
Man, I think about it even to this day, and it brings tears to my eyes because I know, like, man, God saved me, man. He really gave me another opportunity. And, you know, my big hope is that even my harshest critic can watch this and say, I don't agree with everything, but I understand him a little bit more now. And the ones that have been following me and been rocking with me, they can say, that's why I was following him and supporting him all these years.
You've always been a good role model, Andre. Like, that's the one thing that I think that's what attracted me to you in the beginning when I started covering you, because I was like, dude, Andre's a good guy. Like, he doesn't need to be flashy or put on this persona that, like, I'm the baddest man. He's a humble guy, but he's a solid dude. But on the flip side, you always see, like, that's not the most doesn't generate the most headlines, the most like fanfare with that. But you've always been a guy that like really stuck to who you are at your core, and even with your decision to retire, you stuck with it. You know?
Yeah, I wasn't for sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to acquiesce and be what the media wanted me to be. And it's unfortunate because that standard's not for everybody. A lot of that stuff is for, you know, certain creative fighter, you know, African American fighters. We're just known to do it a certain kind of way and promote a certain kind of way. And my question was, why does it have to be that way? Like, I think if you really look at me and what I brought to the table, there was a lot to promote. There was a lot to pull from. And I don't get credit for my fan base. I don't get credit for the support I get, and I don't get credit for the people that support me and rock with me. But it's deep. It's a lot deeper than what people think. But I love my fan base because it's genuine. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of fakeness there. It's a lot of real people that support. Say, man, you have no idea how you inspired me, man, and the support that you know, how you've supported me throughout my life just through watching you. That's the kind of stuff that I want. Like, you could have thousands of people in the arena. They're not all for you, man, and everybody don't want to see you win. So I appreciate my road, and I appreciate the way that I went about it. You know what I mean? And I appreciate how other guys did their thing too. Like, but the thing is like everybody can't be Floyd. Somebody got to be Andre Ward. And then somebody got to be Shakur Stevenson. Somebody's got to be Terrence Crawford. Somebody's got to be Errol Spence. Like, let guys show you who they are. Don't try to force them to be this or be that. Let them be who they are, man, and let them blaze their own path, because everybody can't be Floyd. Some people just can't do it like that. But there's other lanes for other people, and I just love seeing people be themselves and create their own lanes.
We'll chat more, Andre. I know I'm getting the cut. 30 seconds. Can you break down this fight that we're here for the weekend so we can make a clip?
60-40, 55-45 fight. You got to lean toward Gervonta. A little bit more seasoning, a little bit more pedigree. I think he's supposed to figure this out. I think he's supposed to find a way to figure this out, but it's not going to be easy. He's going to have to go through some fire. I wouldn't be surprised if he got dropped, if he got hurt. Ryan's going to get hurt. Both guys are going to have to go through something if they're going to get their hand raised. It's a fun fight. It's a fight for bragging rights. They both got big followings. Mainstream media is covering the fight. That's always a good thing. It's just one of them fun fights, man. It's a fight you don't want to miss.
Andre, I'm so proud of you, bro. I'm so happy for you. Man, it was a pleasure covering your career, man. I appreciate it.
All right.